Hi everybody, we're going to do a short video today on zip archives. We deliver our installers in zip archives because it helps us simplify the process of downloading for most people because it circumvents a lot of antivirus issues. Now, with a bare bones installation of Windows 10, the options are pretty straightforward. However, a lot of IT departments or a lot of different computer manufacturers install different utilities, and that can make it a little bit confusing when we're trying to describe to people how to unzip the archive. We're going to look at the default toolset that comes with a bare bones installation of Windows 10, but then we're going to look at WinZip, WinRAR, and also 7-zip. These are common utilities that we come across all the time. So the first toolset that we're going to look at is the one that comes installed by default on a standard bare bones Windows 10 installation. And let's just assume for this example that we just downloaded the latest version of NumberCruncher 2021, and here's our archive. And notice my ZIP file extension. Well, we can see that because earlier I went up into my View tab here and made sure that file name extensions were enabled. Now, before we jump into the utility, let's take a look at a couple of details. Windows has built a very nice downloads abstraction here for you. Your downloads folder is the folder that most browsers by default will put all your downloads. If I go up into my address bar though, it just says the word download. So it doesn't actually say, well, where does that actually live on my disk? For the most part, that doesn't matter to you as long as it works and you know where to go. However, it's going to be helpful for the purposes of this demonstration to take a closer look at that. So I'm going to go down to my C drive, and I'm going to go into my users folder. This is the folder where all user profiles are stored. And I'm going to go into this user profile. Right now I'm logged in as Limburg user. When I go in there, we're going to see all of my Windows folders, including my documents and my downloads. When I click into here, voila, there's my downloads folder. Notice how the address bar treatment is a little bit different now since I navigated there manually. If I click in here, we're going to see C:users, Limburg user, downloads. Now, why does that matter? Because now I want to take a look at these tools, and we're going to see that path in a minute, and I wanted to make sure that you understood what that meant. So, using the default tools again, I can go ahead and take a look at this archive by just double-clicking into it. And Windows will actually treat it just like it's a folder on your file system, but it's not. It's actually an archive. And because it looks that way, you'd think that you could just double-click and start working with this file, and in truth, Windows has done a pretty good job at making you be able to work within zip archives, but I don't recommend it for a number of reasons. What I recommend is that you select the file, copy it, and then drag it out somewhere, maybe your desktop, maybe keep it right in your downloads directory, and paste. Now, for the purposes of showing some different ways to use the utility, I'm going to go ahead and clear my extracted installer and take a look at a different method. I'm going to go ahead and right click on this archive now, and you'll see this command extract all. That's going to pull up the Windows utility, and here's that path name that we were just looking at, and this is why I wanted to take that moment to explain what this means. All this is saying is that once you press the extract button, this is where it's going to extract it to. And notice it's saying that it's going to actually extract it to a folder NC 2021 inside your downloads folder, which doesn't exist yet, but it just means that it'll create it for you. And another note, usually this box is checked by default. I always shut it off because if I press extract and that's on, it actually pulls up the results in a separate window. And generally speaking, I just find that clutter. So here I go, I'm going to press extract, and now it created the new folder just like we thought it would, and there's my installer that I can work with. Finally, let me clear this out, and one last example. I'm going to right click and drag the archive, and it's going to give me a context menu with the option to select extract. Then it brings us back to that familiar dialog. And with that, I'm going to get ready for the next example. Okay, I paused the video and I installed WinZip. So let's take a look. First of all, we're going to notice that the icon is different on this archive, and that's because once you install WinZip, it kind of takes over. And you'll see that immediately because I'm going to right click on this archive and we see open with WinZip, and we don't see the extract option that we had before, but we do see this little WinZip menu, which gives me a lot of options, which we will use. And we also see this little open with, which would have been there before. However, it gives us Windows Explorer. And when I choose that, it's as if we went into the archive like we were in the last example. Now, I can double click on it and it launches it in WinZip. And immediately that gives us some options to unzip it to the downloads folder and all kinds of different things. We could spend years just looking at all the different options in WinZip. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And for the most part, for day-to-day use, you use it through the context menus. I can also do the right click and drag, WinZip, unzip to here, or unzip to that NC 2021 folder like we were doing before. And there we have it. There's our NC 2021 folder. I'm going to delete it. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on the archive and look at some other options. Here's my WinZip menu. I can unzip it here or to that same folder. Lots of options. And now let's switch things up and move to the next example. Now once again, I took a break and I installed WinRAR. Now WinRAR is another compression utility. It has a bunch of different options, and we'll just take a look at a couple of them. Right away, you obviously notice that the icon changes. If I right click on the file, we see open. If I say open, it actually brings it up in WinRAR. I have an evaluation copy here for demonstration purposes. I can use their buttons and menus to do different things or extract it in a different way, do virus scans, all kinds of things, or I can just drag and drop one of the items out into my folder. Works pretty slick. I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to clear my archive, or should I say, I'm going to clear my installer here. So I'm going to go up and right click on the archive. If I open it up, it's going to pull it right up in my evaluation copy of WinRAR here. I can use the buttons and menus to perform different operations. In this case, there's only one item in the archive, our install product. I'm actually just going to drag and drop it out and extract it that way, and then go ahead and close the application. Let me clean up our extracted file here for demonstration purposes. I'm going to right click again, and I could say open with WinRAR, which is what we just did. It's the same as open up here. Extract files, extract to NC 2021, extract here versus extract to NC 2021. So it has probably most of the commands that you'd use right away, right at your fingertips, and that's pretty nice. And I also like that it's a simplified interface, whereas WinZip is pretty powerful, but gosh, it's got so much going on, my eyes kind of cross. I'm going to go ahead and clear this file out as well as my extracted folder. And let's see, anything good to look at? I think that's about it. Now, if I do open with, we still have that Windows Explorer option, and it brings us right into the archive like we did in the original example. So with that, I'm going to get ready for the next demo. So for our last example, we're going to use 7-zip, which is really the least obtrusive of the three utilities that we've been using beyond the default Windows controls. And you can see immediately that it doesn't change the icon for the zip archive. If I double click on the archive, it goes in through Windows File Explorer just like before. And if I right click, you're going to see the extract all command just like before. What's different is you do have the 7-zip menu, which gives a list of familiar commands like extract here or extract to NC 2021, just like in each of the other examples. So that concludes a demonstration of 4 different types of zip archive tools. I hope you found this helpful. Don't hesitate to reach out if you're having a hard time with one of our archived installers.